Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for another true crime video. If you are new here, welcome and thank you so much for clicking on this video today. If you do enjoy this type of content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you do not miss a video. I apologize in advance if you hear geese in the background, but I do live in Canada and there is like 100 geese that live right out back. Now, I'm going to try to get through this story as unbiased as I can. I do have a really strong opinion. This one did have me riled up a little bit and I followed it very closely. I watched the verdict live, but I am just going to lay out all the facts. And if you guys are interested to hear my thoughts and opinions, then stay tuned till the end of the video. On July the 30th of 2022, many people were enjoying a day of tubing out on the Apple River in Wisconsin when an altercation broke out between multiple groups of people that would take the life of a teenage boy and change the lives of everybody involved. Amongst one of the groups was then 51-year-old Nicolae Miu, his wife Sandra, and a group of their close friends. One of their friends had dropped their phone in the river, and Nick, who had a snorkel and goggles, went to go look for it. That's when a group of intoxicated 17-year-old boys began taunting him and calling him names such as, well, I can't really say it here on YouTube, but they were accusing him of looking for little girls while filming him. Now, here's where the story becomes extremely muddy because we're going to break down two different sides of it. According to Nick, he told the boys that he had been looking for a phone. He then says one of the boys held up a phone and he went towards them thinking that it had been the one he had been looking for. According to Nick, that's when the taunting and name-calling initially began. The group of boys, however, say that Nick had ran up to them, grabbing onto their leg and their tubes for no apparent reason, and there had been no contact prior. I do find that a little hard to believe, but we'll get into that later, like I said. What we do know is that the confrontation then became heated, and this attracted the attention of another group along the water. This group included Madison Cohen and Riley Madison. Now keep in mind, all of these groups do not know each other. Meanwhile, this is now being recorded on one of the boys' Jawan Cockfield's phone. Madison and Riley are seen approaching Nick, and Nick can be seen pointing towards the group, appearing to try to be telling them something. That's when you can hear another voice, Dante Carlson, who was also part of Madison Cohen's group, say, "It doesn't matter." Madison can then be heard telling Nick, "Get your ass out of here and go." At this point, Madison Cohen and Riley Madison are seen screaming in Nick's face and grabbing at him, pushing at him, trying to get him down the river. At this point, things are becoming very heated, the camera's moving around, things are happening really quickly. The boys claim that within a millisecond of the camera facing away, that Nick Miu punched Madison Cohen in the face, knocking her to the water. Nick says that he put his hands up and pushed her out of his face. The video also shows that Madison Cohen never actually fell into the water as she is not wet and she is still holding her beer and her vape in her hand. This is when things take a nasty turn. That's when multiple people from both groups then began pushing Nick into the water and hitting him in the face and the head. Nick then pulled out a knife and began stabbing everybody that made bodily contact with him. A total of 5 people were stabbed, and sadly, 17-year-old Isaac Schuman did not survive. Nick then walked away, threw his knife into a bush, and returned to his group, remaining extremely quiet. His friends and wife testified that he appeared to be in shock and pale as a ghost. Initially, Nick denied everything, claiming that he had taken the knife from one of the boys who pulled it out on him. He then admitted to having the knife with him on the river so that he can cut the ropes on the tubes. Nicolae Miu was charged with first-degree murder and 4 counts of attempted first-degree murder. During his trial, the defense pointed out multiple inconsistencies in the stories of both of Schuman and Cohen's groups. All of the boys in Schuman's group testified that they completely made up the fact that Nick had been looking for little girls. Keep in mind, they were highly intoxicated at the time of the incident. The prosecutors argued that Nick was the aggressor in the situation and should have walked away. Nick's wife and friends testified that he was a peaceful and highly intelligent man who spoke multiple languages. They also confirmed that he brought the knife with him to cut the ropes on the tubes, and multiple people have stated that it is not uncommon for people to have knives along the river. Nick had also had open heart surgery, and he claims that he did tell the groups this before they attacked him. They then asked the jury to consider multiple lesser charges, which I will put up on the screen because there's a lot of them. In my opinion, they did that because they knew that they had a weak case and they didn't want him to walk. Both the prosecution and defense delivered powerful closing arguments, and the case was given to the jury. The jury deliberated for 7 hours before finding Nicolae Miu guilty of all charges except first-degree murder and 4 counts of attempted first-degree murder. So basically, he was found guilty on all of the charges that they slapped on him right before the closing arguments. Now, if you have made it this far, thank you so much, and we are going to get into my personal thoughts and opinions on this case. First of all, I never trust a video alone. I know this video caught all of the stuff that actually pretty much mattered on the camera, but I'm just gonna let you know right now that there is a lot of people out there that get people pissed off and then they decide to flip their phone on to film that person's reaction and make them look like the bad person. I'm not saying this happens in every single case, but you know, it is something to be kept in mind. You can't go throwing around names such as and expect people to take that shit lightly. I also don't believe that Nick hit Madison Cohen because, again, if he did do that, he would have had to do it in like a millisecond when the camera had been off of him, when everything was all chaotic, which I just don't buy that they caught everything on camera except that one little piece of evidence that, in my opinion, really helped seal Nick's fate. And I think if she had fallen in the water, she wouldn't have still been holding onto her drink and holding onto her vape. She claimed that she did have a swollen face. Well, it's not adding up. She was by far the aggressor in this situation. Minding your business is free of charge. Do I think Nick took it too far? Absolutely, I do, especially after the first couple of people. You can see that they had ran into his knife rather than him actually stabbing them. And as he was being pushed, the knife went up while he stabbed AJ Martin. But he really did have milliseconds to think. I mean, everybody in this situation had milliseconds to think. Everybody could have done something differently, but you can't turn back the hands of time. In my personal belief, I do think he had been defending himself. I do think he could have done some things differently, but I also think that everybody involved could have done things differently. And I think that it should not be okay to not only taunt and bully people, but to film them, call them horrible names, which in my opinion should be classified as accusations, and put your hands on people and expect people not to react. You never know what somebody's capable of. Everybody is so obsessed with social media. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that they would have posted this video online had it not taken a horrific turn and branded this man as someone who actually was looking for little girls. I think they wanted to go viral. They wanted to have a viral moment causing havoc on the internet because for some reason that shit is promoted. But talking shit to people online and messing with people in person are two completely different things. It's absolutely horrific for everybody involved. All these kids are going to live with PTSD and trauma. One of them lost their life, and a man's going to be in jail for probably the rest of his life. I truly hope that everybody learned something from this situation, and I hope that everybody watching and listening, I hope that you learned something from this situation too. Just go on about your life, enjoy it, don't bother people, even if you think you're being harmless and innocent. Like I said, whether he was justified or not, you never know what somebody is capable of. But I want to hear all of your guys' thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you guys think? Do you guys think this was self-defense, or do you think he deserves to go to prison for the rest of his life? There is a lot of opinions on both different sides, and I'm really curious to hear everything you guys have to say. And thank you guys so much for clicking on this video today. Again, if you are new here and you did enjoy this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss videos just like this one. I hope you guys take care of yourselves, and we'll see you guys in my next video.